I'm just gonna get on here and talk about my life, and it's probably gonna be boring, but it's almost like I don't care. I do care. I would love to be good enough at talking about my life to make it interesting or useful to someone else, but I'm not sure that I'm really there. So this is probably more just a word salad, a word vomit, and it's probably gonna be boring. So basically, what I've been thinking about is like, I met this woman today at breakfast, and I was sitting there, um, talking to some people, and they were telling me about their life and what they were up to, and then that conversation kind of ended, and then this woman next to me, her phone started like going off, like playing some random song. And I was like, "Yeah, turn it up." And so she laughed at that, and then we started talking, and she was really interesting. So she turns out she was like a somewhat of like a spiritual teacher, I guess, or something. So and she was teaching about intuition. That was like her whole thing. Because I asked her, I was like, "Oh, how long have you been here?" You know, and she was like, "Oh, actually, I live here, and back in 2016 or something, I basically had this woke up with this intuition. I was like, I need to go move and sell my business and sell my house, and then her and her husband did that, and apparently it all worked out because then COVID hit later, and her business would have suffered, but she sold it before COVID happened. So like basically, she was just explaining how once she started following her intuition, everything in her life got better, and and that making decisions about your life based on your mind was kind of like a trap or something. Like, and by the mind, I guess she was meaning like, I don't know, like your your best like analysis of things. Like, well, if this happens, then this happens. Then if I do this, I'll do this. So therefore, I should not do this, and I will do this, and then I'll do this. And that she was kind of saying how living your life based on that doesn't end up working. Like, even if you're successful, and I thought this was interesting. She was like, even if you're successful, it's kind of like unfulfilling because it's disconnected from this deeper thing, which is your intuition. Um, and so it's a really interesting topic, and it's something I've been thinking about, not in those terms, but yes, it felt like a very relevant conversation because I guess I've been thinking a lot about like my life because I'm in the middle of this big transition in life, um, and a moment where I'm like, oh, I can kind of reset or something. I can rearrange my life. Um, so I've been thinking how I want to do that, and I've been, part of me has been trying to figure it out. Like, well, okay, maybe I'll really focus on teaching guitar, because that's like I have this skill of I can play guitar, and I'm halfway decent at teaching it, and I can like, like focus on that, and like logically, right? Like, I don't know, it makes sense to me. Like, there's a certain logic to it. It's like I'm kind of good at guitar. Uh, I like music. It seems like a worthwhile thing for people to learn. One sec, sorry. It seemed like a good thing for people to learn. Like, a lot of people want to learn it. So checks a lot of boxes, like, logically, right? So then yesterday, I spent a bunch of time, like, okay, mapping out this curriculum. Like, first I'll teach this, then this, then this, then this. And I could do that. I could pursue that. And I think I might still. I don't really know. But I woke up this morning and late last night after I did all that work, something just felt off. I'm just like, that's not, my intuition was like, that's not the direction for me. Like, that's not it. That's not it. Which is annoying because my logical mind wants to be like, just fucking pick something and just do it. Doesn't really matter. And maybe there's some truth in that. But my intuition is like, nope, That's not it. So then talking to this woman this morning was interesting because I was already kind of on that, on that train of thought, like I want to follow more my intuition here. And then we had that conversation, and she was basically just reminding me that, yeah, that is one way you can do it. And she was saying it's the best way. I don't personally know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But it does seem like for me it might be the best way to be more intuitive. I've always kind of felt more like I'm following my intuition in life and less like I'm following a fixed plan of how, how I want my future to be. Like for example, like I went to graduate school to get my Master's of Divinity degree in Buddhism. And I had no plan of like how that was gonna, help me or something. I just intuitively was like, this seems like a good thing to do. And because I just love Buddhism. And it wasn't even because I love Buddhism. It was just like, I just knew that's what I wanted to do. So I did it. And from a more logical point of view and a financial point of view, it so far has been a mistake because I haven't really used that degree and it was very expensive. And, so now I have these student loans and I'm kind of like, well, shit, logically that doesn't really, not the best. So this is what the conservatives are like, don't do this, The ones who are like, don't forgive student debt. You fuckers signed up for it, make them pay. I don't know. Student debt is not a good situation, but that's just a topic for another video. But the logic there is like, well, you shouldn't just follow your intuition. You should like do what makes sense. What can you afford? Can you afford college? Do you have a plan to actually use it? Is it a good investment? If it is really a good investment, okay, do it, take out a loan, but then have a plan of how you're going to pay it back. Whereas someone like me, they would probably say like, dude, you're just like a fucking stoned ass dude, even though I wasn't stoned at all, but they would probably just say like, oh, you're just a, you're just a head in the clouds kind of guy. Like go study your Buddhism, study the philosophy, study the meditation, study all that. And then what? There's not a lot of money in that, as it should be, I think. But anyway, a point being, I didn't do that because of logic. I did it because of intuition. But also, I kind of feel like I'm paying the price a bit, which is having a lot of debt, and then also being like, well, I don't want, like, the one really obvious job you can get with that degree is to work in a hospital as a chaplain, and I don't want to do it. I just don't. Like, that's definitely not like, yes, that's where my intuition leads me. So this is all to say, honestly, I don't really have any point here. I'm just talking. And the reason I'm making this video is because I just have this intuition, like, it's good to talk about it for some reason. Like, instead of just keeping all these thoughts inside, I figured, well, I'll share them, and maybe like one person will see this video and be like, that's really interesting and cool. Or maybe you can just relate to this feeling of like, fuck. Like, because I'm at a point in between jobs and stuff where like I have a little bit of time where I don't absolutely have to be making an income. Like, I have just this little window. So I'm kind of like, well, at some point for sure I'm going to be working, and part of me is just like, just enjoy it. This like this little rare moment in life where, things are up in the air, and just try to enjoy it. I would say I am enjoying it. And I'm also thinking like, well, what kind of work do I want to pursue? So, one of the things, and I don't know if I wouldn't call it work. This is not what I'm doing right now. Is not work. Let's be real. I'm sitting here smoking this stupid cigar and talking to talking to you. It's fun. It's not work. Uh, but I think that's one intuition I have is something around YouTube, like just sharing my thoughts and just talking, but I don't know how it will form or what I'm talking about. That's something that has been like tripping me up and slowing me down big time, is being like, well, what's my thing? Like what am I an expert in? What am I going to help people with, and what kind of like thing can I help people do, and what can I charge money for, and how can I, So, and I've come up with all these ideas, but the thing is, I've come up with these ideas from up here, like this logical thing of like, first I figure it out, like what am I doing, and then I'll do it. And so I've been like, well, okay, I'll do, for years I was like, okay, I'll do Buddhist chaplaincy, but like not in a hospital. I'll do it one-on-one. So then I got thinking like, how am I going to develop it? What's the point of it? Because people don't want to pay for things if there's no point, obviously. I mean, I don't pay for stuff unless there's a point for it. So, that logical piece has been holding me back, because I'm like, I don't have shit that people will pay for. Although I do. I have body work. Like I'm a massage therapist. And then music to a certain degree. People will pay for that. But, yeah. But, okay, so we've officially reached the point of the video where there's really no point of the video. But yeah, so I'm just been thinking about this, and I would say at times I would say struggling with it, but I'm trying to actually maybe get to a point where I don't struggle with it. I just kind of just riff like I'm doing now, and without expecting a specific result, but just kind of getting more comfortable and more used to experimenting with making videos and just talking, and to see what comes from it. But maybe one thing I could say is I do think intuition is probably the best way to make choices, or to go, the best thing to rely on. And so that's really the question that I'm kind of asking myself. Yeah, maybe that's what I'm going to talk about, is what is the I don't know, you can probably hear that. It's like a lawnmower. Really nice addition to this video for you. This woman this morning was saying like there's a source of knowledge within you. And it's basically like an energy that you can that was so loud. I don't know what that was. There's a source of energy that you can ask for guidance. So I think in other traditions they call that God. Like you pray to God, like, God, please give me guidance on how to live my life, on how to make this decision. I think Christians do that, right? Pretty sure Christians do that, or some do. In Buddhism, I haven't seen as much of that. I'm sure there's Buddhists that do that, like they pray to Buddha for guidance. I've never done that, and I've never really had like a Buddhist teacher explain that as a good practice to do. God, that's annoying. I'm going to be totally honest. I'm very sensitive to sound. That sound bugs me. I want it to stop. But why? Why can't I just accept it? I guess I could sort of accept it. But it bugs the shit out of me. Oh, I just want it to stop. I just want that to stop. It's not going to stop. That's one thing about being in this part of the world, is like it's loud. It just is. Okay. last night at 11 p.m. the they were doing something with like the fish tank downstairs, like cleaning the fish tank. There was like crazy amount of sound and like shit getting knocked over and like buckets getting filled up, and it was like 11:15 at night, and I was just like, I just want to go to sleep, but I guess it's time to help the fish. But you know, you gotta keep the fish happy. Um. So yeah, I've never really like prayed to the Buddha to give me guidance. I've never prayed to God to like give me guidance. Um, but I think there may be sort of something to that, and whether you discuss it as God or um, or intuition, I think either way it could be kind of useful. So for me, what I'm going to experiment with, and I'll let you know how it goes, is just trying to like, I don't know, ask my intuition how to proceed with this. And I guess maybe the first step is to kind of crystallize the question. So what is the question? So maybe that's interesting for you if you have something that you're trying to figure out in your life, whether it's what kind of work to pursue, or maybe you hate your job and you're like, nah, yeah, you probably hate your job. Sorry to say. Mm, I think most people hate their job. Interesting side note, I was reading a book. It's by David Graeber. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called Bullshit Jobs. That's what it's called. It's called Bullshit Jobs. And I don't remember the statistic, but it was some high statistic. I think it was like 40% of people believe that the job that they have is, you can see my internal blood boiling, this fucking lawnmower thing. 40% of people, 40% of people um, believe that if their job didn't exist, that uh, that basically that the world would not be worse off. So 40% of people believe like their job is useless, like not an added benefit to the world, which is insane. And also, you know, he was talking about like the psychological effects of that. You know, like if you're doing a job, going to work, and you're like, actually, you actually believe that the company you work for or the service that you're providing, the world would be better or unchanged if that company didn't exist or that service stopped happening. So that's crazy. You know, like I think if I worked for Meta or like, you know, Facebook or something, I would feel that because I'm like, man, if I think about really like the net effect of like what Facebook and you know, social media is doing to people, I don't think I would like go to bed thinking like, oh yeah, that feels really good. You know, the world's better off because I, you know, trained this really highly addictive like algorithm to suck more people's attention for any given day, and now the shareholders are happy. Mm. Mom, if you're watching, I'm sorry. It's a bad thing. I know. I just like cigars. I don't know. Um, but what was I gonna say? Don't remember. But yeah. So whatever the situation is. So for me, it's, you know, trying to figure out what kind of work to pursue and what kind of income, livelihood to pursue. But for you, it could be something similar. Or it could be a relationship thing. I don't know. But I think the first step is to kind of crystallize the question. So what is your question really? Um, that you would, if you had the answer to from deep within yourself, that would be a useful answer for you to then act upon that. What would the question be? And I think for me, it's like, what is the kind of work that is practical in the sense of can earn me, you know, a decent income and is aligned with my soul's purpose or my soul's calling in the world, you know. And it doesn't have to, you know, soul's purpose or something sounds really glamorous or something, but I don't think of it that way. But, you know, I think different souls have different things that they're connected to, you know. And that might be something really just ordinary, like, I don't know, making ceramic pots or something. Or it could be, you know, something more public facing, who knows. But yeah, for me that's it. So it's like that's the question I want to ask my intuition is what's the work that is aligned with um, my soul's calling, and also can provide me, you know, a decent income. All right. So it's been a pleasure, truly, hanging out with you. And yeah, if you made it this far in the video, which I would think probably is a small number, I don't think, if I was you, I probably would have skipped off of this shit a long time ago. Because I don't have a lot of patience, as you can tell from this sound thing. I don't have a lot of patience. So I wouldn't have time for some dude rambling like this. But anyways, if you're still here, the one person who's still watching, I'd be curious your what is the part of your life or the question in your life that you think having a clear intuition on would be useful? And if you want to share, what is your question? Like, what is the question you would want answered by your intuition? Or, you know, am I just the only person who's thinking about this today? Okay.